All right, welcome everyone to another episode of the Inside in Tennis podcast. I'm your host, Mitch Michals. This podcast, as always, is on the Believe Network and wherever you get your shows. You can listen on Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music. You can also watch the video episodes on the YouTube channel at Mitch Michals. Spring is just rolling along. We've got so much great tennis. We've got so many great storylines. And the pleasure of this show is getting to talk to people in and around the great sport of tennis. And it's a pleasure to do that just now. Jessica Mcmillen joining the show, USTA, lifer at this point, but someone who's made a tremendous impact in the game and is doing great things in the sport of tennis and in the entire country of America. Jessica, thanks so much for joining. Excited to get the chance to talk to you.
Thanks, Mitch. I'm super excited to be here. Thank you for asking me.
How's it going, first off, this time of year? I always like to start with what, everyone's up to, but tennis in the state of Texas, and I know it's going to get a little hot coming up here, so how's it been going down in the South?
That's okay. We can deal with the heat. Our players are trained to play in the heat, but it's good. It's the end of the school year, and we have tons of kids playing JTT and adult leagues wrapping up, and our summer tournaments kicking off, and lots of things going on. So it's a good time to be a tennis player in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, and I should mention, based in Austin, but a Texan in a lot of ways. You're an SMU grad, so got to mention that a little further. I actually had the chance a couple of years ago. I didn't go to the game, but I happened to be in town by happenstance when it was an SMU TCU football game, and it was pretty heated outside.
Iron Skillet? You missed an Iron Skillet game? Oh my gosh.
Talking about heat, though, it was 11 in the morning. It was early in the season, and it was about 100 degrees outside. So we decided to just watch the game at a local establishment. But I know that it's a passionate part of the country, especially sports. And it is good to see tennis because we can, kind of just have a convo here. But there are a lot of tennis players and a lot of former players that are setting up shop in Texas. I was chatting with a friend of mine, Mark Knowles, who and he was saying the same thing. I just felt like Texas was the perfect place to set up shop. And, it makes sense given how passionate and active the residents of Texas are.
Yes, that's true. And we are so grateful to have Mark Knowles. When we were hosting JTT sectionals in San Antonio probably 6 years ago, our player captains or our parent captains were coming through the line to check in the team. And we were like, we're like, you're checking in? What's your name? Mark. We were like, Mark Knowles. Oh my gosh, you're a parent captain for JTT. That is amazing. Yeah. It was really cool. So it was lots of fun, but yes.
And I know, and there's so much to get to, but I know a lot of what you do is in the volunteer space, which is very admirable, and it's events, and it's just letting people know about how cool tennis is. But I'd imagine some of the cool stuff, like speaking of Knowles and that, like Dirk Nowitzki's into tennis. He has his events. You have Andy Roddick down there. It's got to be pretty cool for those type of events, and also for the fans that get to see sports stars, maybe not even tennis stars, just pick up a racket.
Oh my gosh, you better believe it. So we're super lucky in Austin because, as you know, we have a WTA 250 event, ATX Open. Peyton Stearns won it this year. Last year it was Jess Pegula. Our tournament director is Christo van Rensburg, which I'm sure he and Paul Annacone won the Australian Open in doubles, and Christo is just such a great guy. He's got amazing energy. He's such a character. And the first year he was hosting ATX Open, he called me. I was actually in New York at the Open, and he said, Jessica, you have to help me get all my volunteers. And I was like, oh my gosh, I would love to. And everyone literally came out of the woodwork to be involved at that event. Mm-hmm. That was the year Marta Kostyuk won, which, how great is she right now? Yeah. But it was a heavy the but everyone wanted to be involved, and we brought professional tennis to Austin. It's at a fabulous club called Westwood. But the funder, Brian Sheffield, is really good friends with Matthew McConaughey. So he is like our resident celebrity, and he's a great tennis player. I don't know if you've seen him hit, but he's a great player.
He plays with some top players. It's good that he just loves the sport, and every year at the final, you can count on him being there. Is that club? Is that Nick Monroe's club? I just wanted to mention. Is that?
Yes,
I think it is.
I love Nick Monroe. It is Nick Monroe's club. Everything. We're all just kind of living in Nick Monroe's world. Seriously, that guy is everywhere, doing everything at all times. So yes, that is Nick's club.
We're just orbiting. We're Saturn. He's the sun. I get it. I get it.
We
But
are. And it's
yeah,
really about Nick's dad. It's about
yeah.
Ben Monroe. And then,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
Of
Yeah.
course, of course.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
Austin's interesting too, the 250 tournament, because it is a successful event. It's an event that has captured maybe the hardest challenge in pro tennis is a lower event that players at the pro level want to play. It's an event that players want to play, but you know, the timing too makes the challenges, Jessica, even harder because starting any event is tough, especially in this current landscape where unfortunately the priorities have been the higher events and we're seeing less and less 250 level tournaments.
Yeah. 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 And, it's such an intimate event. I guess it would have been last year was when Madison Keys won the Australian Open and we're all like screaming and yelling and cheering for her. And then we realize, oh my gosh, that means
She's
that
top
she's
10
not
now.
coming
Yeah.
to Austin to play ATX Open. But, we have so many incredible players come to Austin to play that event. And then Drop Shot Series added a 125 right in between Indian Wells and Miami this year. And we scooped up so many incredible players. Sloane Stevens, Emma Navarro, Bianca Andreescu, which I am obsessed with Bianca's mom. Whenever she's playing, my daughter and I are like, show her mom, because she had her dog and everything at the club.
Yeah.
Paula Badosa. I mean, all of these people came out to play, and it was a 125. It was super intimate. It was just a wonderful time. But yeah, I love the fact that Austin is the type of city where players want to come, and we love to roll out the red carpet for them and, take them to the best barbecue joint, get them a cowboy hat and things like that. But you will have to come, Mitch. You
I
have
know.
to the ATX Open.
I need to. I definitely need to. I'm no stranger to Austin, but I have to check out the tournament. And my soapbox pitch too is for smaller events, you never know what storylines you're going to get. There's still a lot of possibilities, whether it's a young player on the way up, maybe a player at the twilight of their career, or a veteran that just needs that confidence boost. And you never know what could ignite something, what could be the first opportunity to see someone great or the first leg, I'll say, of their comeback.
Yeah. No, it's real. I mean, watching Marta win that first year, and I'm a huge fan of hers and the fact that Sandra is her coach. Like, sorry, but I love women coaches for female players. And, it's true. You never know who's going to sign up for that event. People check the players field regularly for ATX Open because the next thing you know, you've got Emma Raducanu coming to play in ATX Open. So it's really a cool thing.
Couple years ago. Unfortunately, the tournament's not there this year, but the Cleveland event, I got this chat with Jasmine Paolini, and then a year later, she's in RG final and Wimbledon final, so you never know. But I will say one last thing on Austin. You couldn't have wrote it any better, right? Peyton Stearns winning, like
Oh my gosh.
Texas college legend is just going to win a tournament in her home college town.
Oh my gosh. We were so excited. And it was really tough for us because there are so many Taylor Townsend fans in Austin. Like, she's come to ATX Open pretty much every year. We love her. We love it when she brings AJ. He's hanging out in the pool. And for Taylor to be in the doubles final and the singles final back to back, she won the doubles final at ATX Open and Peyton won the singles. But yeah, Peyton Stearns, holy cow, what an athlete. And just the fact that she's, a Longhorn, we love her even more.
She is a Longhorn in every sense of the word. We saw some of that in Australia when the crowd's against her. It was the Longhorn came out, I'll say. You can watch those matches. But no, Jessica, this is a great opportunity to talk to someone that's so involved, as we mentioned just now with Austin. But I did want to inquire, because not as much of a public figure as some of the people on this show, but how did you discover tennis and really get hooked with it?
Oh, this is a funny story. So I was we were living in New York. My husband went to law school. I was in the music business. That's a fun fact. I used to manage some rap bands, and whenever they come through town, I always have my tennis friends get on the tour bus with them. That's another story. But when we moved to Austin and had kids in 2000, we lived down the street from a great municipal facility, and my kids started playing, and I was like, why is this so confusing? I grew up playing tennis. I don't understand. It was because Texas was one of the sections that mandated the red, orange, green for the kids. And so my
Oh,
daughter got caught up in that because she was 8. She had been playing full court, but we bumped her back to orange. And so I was the annoying mom who called the Community Tennis Association every day, like, help me understand. And they said, lady, you're driving us crazy. Just come up here and you're in charge of juniors now. And I was like, wow, this is awesome.
wow.
That was back in like 2012. So I love community tennis. Grassroots tennis is my passion. I think
Mm,
tennis changes lives. Everybody knows it's the world's healthiest sport. It's
mm,
the reason why I'm on the board of American Heart Association as well. I mean, it's
yeah,
the healthiest org with the healthiest sport. And it's just about exposing people to the sport of tennis. We do a
right.
lot of that through adult red ball now, and there's just so many great things happening in tennis right now.
Yeah, and you hit the nail on the head in a couple things. One being for adults, I haven't found another game that you have people that can come at it totally as beginners and then find that, passion, that hook, so to speak, that really is a sport. I don't want to take anything away from golf, but where you're moving and you're able to kind of get that activity. I think that's part of it too. It's also there's so many different levels and ways to improve that I do think that you don't have to be an expert. You can be a beginner, and it's one of those few lifelong games, as you know. We still have relatives. My dad still plays, and he's 70, his weekly matches, and you have people way older than that are playing. So I think the lifelong aspect of it, that it's not a short-term game and something that you can play your whole life, matters.
100%. And it's the people you meet. I mean, you make such great connections playing tennis, and you can, like you said, you do it for the rest of your life, and it's a wonderful thing. I can't say enough good things about the sport, and I just it's completely transformed my life. Volunteering for USTA 100% changed my life, changed my family's life. I mean, we're just a tennis family. We go to the
Yeah.
Open every year, and it's just a wonderful thing.
When you say that, then it's powerful, and I believe it. Volunteering changed your life, but did you find the sense of fulfillment? Was it helping others? Was it just, or maybe like we were saying, being part of a team that really made a difference?
So I think a lot of it is, providing an excellent playing experience, especially for people who are new to the game. Like that first impression is really important. So if I'm a tournament director, I want to make sure that I've got like a welcoming environment. Maybe I'm playing some music. I've got drinks on hand. I'm
Hmm.
trying to connect everybody and just saying, hey, look, your opponent is not your mortal enemy. You're going to be friends with them for a long time. This is all rec level tennis.
Yeah.
But once we and the pandemic really helped. We got so many
Yeah.
people inside the tennis boat. We want to keep them in the boat, and one way to do that is to really kind of elevate the tournaments and leagues and provide an excellent playing experience.
Yeah, and that pandemic boom was real. People were looking for activity in different ways, and they stumbled into tennis. And I do think that staying with something and keeping them, it's like anything. It's like, consumers and anything. How do you keep people still involved that aren't just gonna, move on to the next thing? And I think the social component's a big one, right? Because it's a tough balancing act, but it's a cool and challenging one in the same regard, right? Because you want to maintain a social element, Jessica, as you know, but people still love competing. Maybe not as extreme as their heyday or at obviously the pro level, but you balance competition with good social environment.
Yes, 100%. One of the events we're hosting this weekend is it's a Dingles event, Andy Roddick's favorite format. And it's a
Yeah.
5-0 plus Dingles event. And we just kind of threw it out there because we don't really do a lot for our 5-0 players. They travel to compete, stuff like that. We thought, let's just get everybody together. We partnered with the ITA, we partnered with USTA. It's going to be a great event. We've got food and drinks, and people signed. We sold out instantly. So I'm really looking forward to that event on Saturday.
We've got more with Jessica Mcmillen here on the Inside in Tennis podcast, talking to one of the premier voices and people at the USTA out of Texas. And also, as we mentioned, as you mentioned, on the board of the American Heart Association. Shout out to them for all they do in promoting not just tennis, but just an active lifestyle to stay healthy. We've discussed this, but it is been proven at this point that tennis is the healthiest sport. But when you think about it from that perspective, and just a quick, summary or line, Jessica, why do you think tennis has that ability to not just, as we said, improve your social status, improve your fill that void for competition, but actually make you healthier.
Yeah, there's a study that came out of I think it was Denmark a few years ago that said, our studies show that tennis adds like 9.3 years to your life. And it's great. It's a full, as my friend Michael Lane says, it's a full body workout. You're out there, hand-eye coordination, moving your body. Like to me, there's nothing more fun than really hitting the ball hard, like having an excellent shot. And I just think it's a lot of fun. It's a great thing. It's a great way to connect with people. And I've met so many people through tennis. It's just really humbling, but yes.
Yeah. You want to get people as active as possible because that is a proven fact that it's good for you. And I would also just add to what you said, that if you're an active athlete in another sport, especially a young high school, college-age kid, tennis is the perfect supplement to that. If you need to get training or get cardio in, maybe you're not into running or swimming, play some tennis in addition to whether it's football, hockey, basketball, whatever. I think that's a good balance.
That is the truth. And I'm not sure if you know Marilyn Sherman, who was at USTA National, but she really promoted red ball tennis, which is anyone can play red ball tennis. And so here in Austin, we have a great team of providers. The Racket Lifestyle guys will go to a brewery, set up in the parking lot some pop-up nets, and it's literally kind of hold my beer tennis, it's red ball tennis, and people love it. Like it gets everybody out and playing. So yes, it's a wonderful thing.
And once it ends, you're right there. You're at the brewery. You don't have to go anywhere. You can just stick around a while. Your work, though, as a board member for the American Heart Association, how cool has that experience been? And how did it really come to be that you became part of this outstanding organization?
Well, unfortunately, my family has a lot of cardiovascular disease. And my dad was an athlete. He was a football player. And, I just feel like we want to be here as long as we can. Like, we want to have as much fun and lead healthy lives. Like, community health is something that I care deeply about. And American Heart Association just does such amazing things. They pour so much money into research. And I'm sure you know my friend Murphy Jensen. Everybody knows Murphy Jensen. And Murphy's story, like, really. So just even like checking with all the facilities, where's your AED? Does your staff know where your AED is? You wouldn't believe how many people actually like have heart attacks on tennis courts. It's kind of a crazy thing. So it's really, really important. We need to partner with the American Heart Association all the time at these events. So it's a big deal.
Yeah, I talked to Murphy like on a podcast probably a couple months before it happened. So it was like a real thing. Yeah, and it was, very, very, tragic in one sense, but really inspiring that it happened where it did, that tennis saved his life and the facility saved his life, because unfortunately not all tennis facilities would have been prepared to spring to action like that.
Yes, like he is an incredible spokesperson, and going through that experience has just made him redevote himself to helping others and reaching out to people. He's always available for anything we ask Murphy to do, particularly with the American Heart Association. I feel like Murphy's story really grounds people in be present, tell your people that you love them, and stay healthy, for Pete's sake. Like, get on the tennis court.
Yeah, and it's also, I use the rope analogy. If you want to indulge sometimes, maybe not eat the best, you got to put the work in. So why not just do it in a fun way like tennis? And as your passion for volunteering has intensified, I'm sure, and I think you've been open about this, you've ran into some roadblocks, and one of them maybe being the lack of courts and the need for more as tennis grows in Austin and across the country. But what have been some of the challenges you face as a USTA volunteer?
So, we have so many new residents in Austin. A lot of people moved here during the pandemic to spread out, have space. We are at capacity. We're over capacity as far as tennis courts go. So we had to figure out pretty quickly, like, how are we going to solve these problems? We have league matches that don't have any courts, tournaments. So thank goodness for smart Todd Carlson at USTA National, who's part of Tennis Venue Services, they developed this thing called Smart Access Lock, which is literally a lock that goes on the outside of high school courts where you can reserve them, pay for them, use them when the team's not using them. And the way that we've positioned it here in Austin at the schools that have smart access, those funds for the court rental fees go straight to the Tennis Booster Club. So all Anderson High School is our shining example in Austin. They have raised so much money. The courts are beautiful. We use them for JTT and league matches. And so just figuring out creative ways, like how are we going to get all these matches played on courts? We've got the courts. How can we use them?
Yeah, and it's really attacking a twofold problem, right? Like I see this in Los Angeles. It's court availability, court access. It's also figuring out a streamline to book courts properly, whether that's remotely, whether that's working with organizations like yourself. And I've just noticed that when you only try to fix one problem, you're not really solving much because it's hand in hand with those two issues.
Yes. Yeah. We had an immediate need and we really needed to figure it out quick. Now, that's not to say we are not working 24/7 to build a new facility, to expand facilities here in Austin, to revitalize, park courts where there's two courts that stand alone by themselves. And it kills me that if a family moves to Austin, the waiting list for all the clubs and the initiation fees are crazy. They're really expensive. And our municipal facilities are at capacity. So, we have to host a lot of grassroots events on those school courts and public park courts to get people in the boat.
Yeah. And at least it's someone like yourself, right, who's found that passion. Was it maybe through the challenges, Jessica, that you realized how passionate you were about the grassroots level?
Sure. I mean, a problem's kind of a good thing to have. It's really just an opportunity to figure out how are we going to expose more people to this great sport and change their lives. We have so many passionate tennis players. Our strongest asset here at Capital Area Tennis is our community. We have an amazing community.
Yeah. When chatting with you and hearing the passion in your voice and knowing a little bit about your background, it sounds like, and I could be wrong, but you had that self-starter creative gene originally. Was that just how you attacked problems?
Well, I don't know. Tennis is a really fun, ecosystem to be involved in. And I'm really grateful to USTA and National for allowing me to volunteer and contribute. And it's all service. It's all about service. And it's a great thing. It's really, really changed my life.
Yeah. No, it's really cool to hear and hear your perspective, especially given, your role on the USTA, which, again, it's growing in prominence. And I was hoping you could discuss kind of that journey. Were you able to, I'm going to say earn your reputation, but as the years have gone on, do you feel like your voice is getting a little louder and clearer with, everybody?
I definitely do, and I have such respect for my friends at National. Megan Rose is an incredible person. Craig Morris. We just have a great staff helping us expose everyone to the great sport of tennis. And I think with us rolling out USTA Coaching, we're trying to take away the barriers from anybody, a parent, a teenager, whomever, a player. If you want to coach tennis, you can download the USTA app, USTA Coaching app, and have a free profile, and it gives you programming lessons here's how you start coaching tennis. So National's been amazing to me. That's not to say that I haven't had tough conversations. I was the chair of the National Junior Team Tennis Committee. I don't know if you played junior team tennis when you were little. Did you?
I didn't, unfortunately, no. And my tennis journey, I think people who've listened know this, but I'm just a rec club level player. I grew up in a football family. I played ice hockey competitively, but I was that kid I was talking about a little bit ago by playing tennis to stay in shape for other sports.
Okay. Well, tennis, rec level players, depending on, first of all, our providers are our biggest asset. We want that right person on the court teaching tennis. And so if we can take away barriers to people who want to be coaches through this USTA Coaching app, that's great. That's what we want to do. We want to create more providers. And I think USTA is really kind of, putting some muscle and money behind this USTA coaching program. But
Right.
when we had JTT, junior team tennis, Jen Brady was like a big
Yeah.
JTT proponent. There were some sections, Florida, Southern Texas,
Hmm.
SoCal, really big junior team tennis sections. And we always had a championship track. So these high level players who mostly played
Right.
tournaments, they wanted to play with their friends. So they
Yeah.
could play JTT and they would advance to nationals. But USTA got rid of our national championship track while I was the chair,
Mm-hmm.
and it was really hard for me to accept that. I was really ugly to Craig Morris. I was like, this, I can't go back to Texas and tell my coaches like we're doing away with this program. And JTT is the team program that will not die. Like people
Okay.
love JTT. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, so there's been some tough times too, but these
Hmm.
are people that I really respect. They really know what they're doing. They do it 24/7. And
Hmm.
if it's a program that's gonna,
Yeah.
come back to life, I would be thrilled to see it.
Yeah. I spoke with Craig and Maria last year on this show, and it was good, honestly. Like, it was very, very interesting. Craig and Megan, rather, when they were on the show, and I thought that the initiative sounded good, and I like the prospect because, like we've been saying, Jessica, I think there's just levels to not just competitively, but levels of engagement in this sport. And it's good to get everybody. It's good to cast a wide net and bring prospective coaches and maybe advanced coaches up to speed too. So I'm thrilled with the work that USTA has done. In addition to, and you've been a proponent of this as well. You talk about the growth of women's sports worldwide. Tennis is at the top of the list, and I know I'm a biased tennis person at this point, but it is at the top of the list of sports that have advanced, have evolved, and women can make as good a living as anywhere in. So that's
Oh
where I'm
yeah.
at.
Well, thank God for Billie Jean King. I mean, come on,
Hmm.
50 years of equal pay is just amazing. We're the only sport that gets to say that. And
Hmm.
then the top 15 highest paid female athletes, 10 of them are tennis players, and a lot of
Yep.
them are Americans. And so, it's a wonderful time for tennis. I love all of the corporate sponsorships and partnerships, things like that, because we have the people that these corporations want to be, you know, have an audience with. And so
Hmm.
my job as, business development director,
Yeah.
it's like fishing in a barrel. It's very easy because people want to be involved with tennis. And so it's an amazing time, particularly for women's sports. Our Kathleen Wu, who ran USTA Foundation, who is going to be the next, I believe, USTA. I think she's our vice president for
Mm.
USTA Texas. She is just so smart and such a powerhouse. And she advised me a few years ago, go to the ESPNW Women in Sports Summit in Ojai. And I've been going for this will be my fourth year. There's a
Mm.
lot of people from USDA, women who go. And it's just an amazing event to connect with unbelievable athletes and people who are really doing things in women's sports. Women's sports is
Mhm.
exploding right now.
Really is, and the game is exploding with young people. I've seen it go to Indian Wells every year. There's never been more young people that are invested in tennis. So, like you, I hope we keep them and figure out the best way. Jessica, this has been a great chat. I did want to wrap up with just quickly, if you're active in following the pro game, if you've got players you support, I'm assuming it's a lot of Americans, but if there's anybody else that's kind of captured your heart, past or present, in the pro tennis world.
Oh, sure, sure, sure. Like I was saying, I mean, Marta Kostyk is
Hmm.
amazing. I love Coco Gauff. You can probably see, I've got my picture of Taylor right behind
Okay.
me. I
All
love
right.
Taylor Townsend, Peyton Stearns. I mean, I just think they're, phenomenal people, phenomenal athletes, giving back to, their communities and things like that. Jess Pagula, Emma
Yeah.
Navarro. I mean, all
Hmm.
of them. They're so great. I'm just tickled pink to be able to say I work in the tennis world.
The depth of the American women is phenomenal. The men are getting there too. It's a little tougher with some of the obstacles in their
Yeah.
way, but they're
Yes.
rising up as well. But Jessica
Yeah.
McMillen, this was a blast. Thanks so much for joining the show. And again, thanks to our friends at the American Heart Association too. reminding everyone how incredible the game of tennis is from a social aspect, but also just keeping you around. Like we're all tourists here at the end of the day, but you want to be healthy and stay as long as you can.
Amen. Thank you, Mitch. I really had a blast being here. Thank you so much.
Of course. Is there anything you'd like to promote or let our listeners and viewers know coming up with USTA in Texas or anywhere within USTA?
Yes, if you're in Austin, go to austintennis.org. You can see all of our fun events. You can come out to the breweries. Bring your friend. Bring a friend to play tennis. Red ball tennis is super fun.
Awesome. Can't wait for our Austin listeners. You want to make sure you check that out. Jessica Mcmillen, one of the premier voices in the USTA. Thanks so much for coming on the Inside in Tennis podcast.
Thanks, Mitch.
That was Jessica Mcmillen. This was the Inside in Tennis podcast. Hope you enjoyed the show. If you liked it, you can find every episode on all your podcast platforms by just going to Apple, Spotify, iHeart, Amazon Music, wherever you get your shows. Click that subscribe button so every episode is automatically downloaded to your listening device. It's that simple. Make sure you check out the YouTube channel for full video episodes. The channel is at Mitch Michals as well. So you can watch, you can listen, you can stay involved and active as we cover this great sport. For Jessica Mcmillen, I'm Mitch Michals. This was the Inside in Tennis podcast. I'll talk to you soon.